So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm doodling in, I think this is a C white sketchbook, so it's A4, so that's like printer paper size. I think it's about 11.5 by 8.25, and I find this is a really nice size. The C white sketchbook is a very good sketchbook, but not very expensive. It's quite nice, smooth sketchbook paper, but it's extra strength wet, and that means that you can just about get a little bit of a watercolor on it. You can't saturate it like you can watercolor, but you can use my dry method of watercoloring. So I thought I'd draw with my Isograph rotary pen, my favourite pen, refillable, tight Yorkshire Lass. I've had them quite a long time. If you look after them, the nibs work really well. And I like the fact that the cap goes on the end of the pen and it elongates it a bit, so it just sits quite nicely in your hand. It's a little bit chunkier than others, so again, it's quite nice to work with. They are normally for graphic designers, used to use them, and technical drawing, so architects, any fine detail. But I kind of like them if you want to write labels really neatly and really small, because you have to keep the pen quite vertical. Now sometimes it's kind of got used to me, but normally you use them almost straight, almost vertical. It's got its rotary ink in, which is an Indian permanent ink, and it dries quite fast because it's a small nib. This is the 0.25. There is a 0.18, but the 0.25 is good, and so that means you can draw something and within a few minutes you can then colour it in a water-based medium. So that's what I'm going to do. Probably going to use Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s because they're the easiest to use. Scratch a bit of colour and then manipulate it around a bit. So I'll stay at this side for the moment. So if I do the main shape, I can then go in and do the details. Now, the one thing I will say is that if you're putting details like this, it does take quite a while and it's a little bit boring, but it's a doodle. It's become a doodle, and I kind of like this doodle. So sometimes I fill the windows in black and sometimes I leave them, but obviously because I'm going to colour this, I'm going to leave it. And basically it's a very fine tube with a wire through the centre of it, and it's the wire that the ink dribbles down, and that's what gives you this really, really nice fine line. I think this ink is a little bit lighter because you can buy the ink in different colours, and I wanted to make like a sepia brown. They do red and blue, black and white. They're the colours I have, and I seem to have got a bit of a kink on this. I'm going to go with it because obviously the gills or frills on the mushroom are never dead straight, so actually that's just happened by accident, and I kind of like that, so I think that's going to be, it's not quite as boring as. Now I suppose I should buy some mushrooms and sketch them, but I can't doodle like that because I have to draw every single gill in its exact place. Oh, I smudged it, but never mind. So if I just do this as a make-believe doodle, I can be freer. And doodles are kind of not quite subconscious, but they're not kind of like I normally draw. You know, this line is wrong, I have to change it. For photorealism, which is what I used to do, it's really difficult to be kind of not slapdash, but kind of, it's not real, it's not right, it doesn't look like that. and I started to look at butterflies to draw them, but I find that I spend too much time trying to get it perfect that I don't end up drawing anything anymore because my hands are a bit shaky now. So if I create a doodle, it's something that is kind of more organic and fast flowing, if that makes any sense. So I would normally now just do this random little kind of marks, and these are what they take the time. But again, this is why it's a doodle. Now I did a whole page, I think I did 2 pages last week, because I volunteer at a local RSPCA cat sanctuary, and I sit and my daughters play with the kittens and tire them out with her friend, and I sit with the older cats that are kind of more stressed, and so I just sit and stroke cats with one hand and doodle with the other. And this is how these pages have come about. And so the cat's kind of getting something out of it, and being able to sit for hours and draw is okay. So it's quite nice to do these doodles because they, as I say, the word is organic, but what I mean is it's kind of flowy. It's not thinking, you know, that mushroom has a line there. Oopsie, there's a spider there. Scary. I don't do spiders. Gosh, 20 years ago I would have been screaming in the middle of the road stopping traffic because there was a spider, a tiny spider in the house. Oh dear. Sorry, a bit of a rabbit trail. Rabbit trails happen on live shows. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. So again, you know, this is kind of nice to work this way. It's your imagination, but I'm not thinking of what a toadstool or a mushroom looks like, because I wouldn't be able to do it if I did. If that makes any sense. Now I did smudge it a little bit, but I'm going to actually colour this one in. Because this is permanent Indian ink, I can leave that just a few minutes and then I can colour it in. So the other toadstool, I kind of like toadstools in 3s at the moment, that's how it's working. So we're going to have another toadstool, and again the fact that no, this is nothing like a mushroom, I can be really organic with it, and I might as well do the other one while I'm here. And I just like the fact that this is how these happen. There's no thought in it, it's just, you know, this is a doodle, it's a recurring doodle which differs. So you couldn't do a mandala like this where everything had to meet exactly in the centre. Every single one of these mushrooms is different, but it has a connection because it's a doodle. It's a recurring kind of sketch, but it's not from reality, if that makes any sense. That makes sense. So all these kind of want to go in. Eventually your hands do hurt a bit. Well, mine do. And you know, although it's a sketch, you can kind of be a little bit more careful than I am. And then we'll have some little doors in these, because I imagine little fairies kind of live in them, so we're going to have a bit of a step. And these evolve, so again, you don't think about it. It's just something that evolves, so we could do with maybe a bit of a darker line around there. And just have the top of the door on that one. And then we have, now I've made half a dozen different leaves up, but this is a buddleia leaf, and this is the bramble leaf. So the bramble leaf, if you look at a real bramble leaf, their veins meet. The buddleias are staggered. And again, that's given two different leaves, and these have got smooth edges and these have got spiky edges. So just by changing two little different things, the shapes are almost the same, you end up with different kind of doodles. And then there's another one that's completely different. So how these mushrooms appear sometimes. Oops. So again, it's quite nice that sometimes these have curls on them, different directions. They're not always the same way around. This is a different leaf. This one I was kind of do like a weeping willow. This is ivy, but it's an ivy with a basic shape, and then it's turned into a doodle. So it doesn't look like an ivy, but it's a different leaf shape. This one again has the tree and has the simple lines without veins in this time. And this one's a holly, so again another stylized holly. But I did look at the veins to see that the veins actually meet, and again that will give you a different way of looking at things. So we've got some more holly. This time the little houses are filled in. This was different. Now I don't like that, so I don't do it anymore. But again, this is another different one with a different doodled leaf. I think that was the first one that I did. And I like the idea that these were really kind of sweeping, being blown away. So they're at another angle. These are the holly. And they were taller. These particular little mushrooms were getting kind of taller and taller. And then we have the bluebells. Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you. So again, you know, if you want to do the bluebells, you can think of the size, especially if it's a doodle. Then I've managed to stylize a tulip and a daffodil. Yeah, they don't look like that, but that's kind of my interpretation. So my shape like this will be yellows and oranges, and this will be bright reds for the tulips. Again, another ivy leaf and some little kind of flowers across the bottom. This is just about got to be, when you've done about 4 pages, you get the right kind of doodle. So all these are exactly the same. They're all drawn in exactly the same way. 5 berries, and then I go off in different directions with the squiggly shape. That's become a doodle now, so I know that I've got another leaf that I can doodle. And the mushrooms, it doesn't matter what pen you pick up now, has become a doodle. The same with the brambles. That's now become a stylized doodle, so I can put that with anything. And the leaves. So again, if you just play a little bit, things come. And then we look at this side. So the first one I did as a group was completely different to what I do now. and I haven't a clue, oops sorry, not the camera, what to do at the bottom. I kind of feel that that looks like a little bit like a large balloon, so I want to do like a little basket underneath. It just reminds me of a very large balloon. And again, toadstools growing on rotting wood or bark, and the bluebells. Some more ivy and daisies this time. And again, the mushrooms kind of just doodle along, and so it's not reality. And this is a new thing for me. Again, some more ivy, slightly different, but it's become a doodle. It's become, you know, I do the heart shape, then I get to have 3 spikes, and then I put the veins in each one. So it becomes a doodle. This one's become a doodle as well. It's slightly different to the other one, and it's a doodle. And when it becomes a doodle, this was a doodle, but it was too small to colour. So you can think one thing or the other. Some butterflies I liked, some shapes I didn't like. Sometimes I like the leaves to be vein free, and sometimes I like to put them in. Again, this is another doodle with another leaf. So this has almost become a doodle. After a couple of pages, it becomes a doodle. I think I drew this when I was with Betsy at the RSPCA. So again, I kind of doodled, then realised, well, really need to be a little bit bigger, and kind of stylised the actual spikes. And this other leaf is a different leaf. It's not it's the veins split differently. And actually I made a mistake on there because that was with the cat and I wasn't thinking. It's actually the buddleia. So I've got some buddleias, and it's their leaves that the veins split differently. So we've got lots of different doodles, and again, it doesn't just play with the circles together. And again, I was playing with the daisies. They've now become a doodle. That's a doodle that I had when I was 16, so it's not a new doodle for me. And then I just start a page, and if I don't know where it's going, I leave it and go somewhere else. And if you're doing something and you're not sure what you want to do, it's a good idea to have a look. So this is my doodle page. This is bells, how I changed the bell until I got it to how I liked it. The same with these. It wasn't quite right there, but by the time I got up here, it was getting there, and I think that's the end one that I liked. So sometimes things evolve. These were the first little fat bluebells, but I changed them. And so doodles, some things work and you take it further, some things don't. So it's good to look back and think, well, actually, you know, do I want holly coming down, or do I want a different type of leaf to come down? I think I made this one up the other day. This is the one I made up yesterday when I was with the cats. I think it's a hydrangea. So this has now become a doodle. And again, a different leaf. It's a slightly different leaf. And the daisies have now become stylised, so they've got the little heart-shaped leaves, which is drawn really quickly, because it's very organic that way. So I kind of like the hydrangeas. And again, that's a doodle, it's a little daisy, and then going off with 4 petals opposite each other, and it just becomes a doodle. But I think I like the brambles. I don't have a lot of room for brambles because we've got some big. Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you. I think my light's just slightly out, so apologies. Rearranging the room, and it didn't get put back quite as nice as I wanted. Now there is a little drop on here because I've been messing about, so I'd just like to take that off, because normally in the cap is a little rubber sucker that touches the edge of the actual pen, and it stops the flow of ink. So again, because it's a doodle, it's quite relaxing. And eventually, depends on, you've got to be really comfortable. I should have this turn round, but see, sorry about the bin man going past. I don't think they're going to stop. So please my car wasn't outside. I think it was a road sweeper. So again, that started kind of and every one of these is kind of different because it's the way you start. It's what you're doing at the time. So if you happen to be stroking a pussycat and she starts to purr, you've got to watch what you're doing. But and I love the fact that this pen would do easily one whole page. Sometimes it does two, of quite intricate little patterns, and you don't need to refill, because the worst thing is running out halfway through. Now you could do this with black biro. Biros are really good to draw with, because unless they're kind of gel like, they don't smudge. And I did catch that smudge there. Has anybody got any questions? So again, this can, you think, oh my goodness, I've got to do all these little dots. But you start and you kind of just keep going. Now, I normally put them always at the edge. And I think I'm going to put maybe a little bit of a kind of a double line, and that means put a bit of shadow under there. So a bit like the end of the butterfly wings. You know, we've got a bit of a shadow under there. The thing with a doodle is you can do what you want, so we can just put room for a shadow. The only problem is you may not be able to see what I'm doing, so I'll zoom in a bit and then you can see the marks. If everything's behaving itself. I'll just have to play with the that should be fine. Oopsie. So you just, and again, this pen, you should really do it like this, but you can work at an angle. Little tiny circles. Sorry, oopsie. And again, because this is kind of a doodle, everyone is different. You get the sense that you want to have some around the edge. Some are big, some are complete, some aren't. I try to do them all circles because that means we can leave them white. On the top, oopsie. So hopefully by next week Betsy would be able to actually sit on my desk, which is why we've taken everything off the desk. And Alfie's under the desk and he doesn't even know we have a cat yet. It's quite funny. So thanks for joining me, guys. Hope everybody's well. Hope we've all got away from again, the only thing is you kind of go off on your own little world when you're drawing, when you're doodling. It's subconscious almost. My little brain knows now that I'm going to do all these, and it's just repetitious. And at first you think, oh, I'm never going to be able to do them all, and then when you turn around you think, oh, I've done them all. I've got enough on there, and some you just don't want too many. Now these pens are a little bit pricey, but it's a pen that will last you a long time if you're careful with it. If you lend it to your daughter and she goes like this with the nib, then it's not going to last. But she only did it with one of them, but I've had some of mine for 20 odd years, so they last a long time. And I've had at least 3, the first set of 3 from 1979. So admittedly I don't use the thickest one at all, well, hardly ever, but just put ink in it and away we go. But the 0.25 I've used and used and used. So if you concentrate on staying within the line, everything else can be more organic. Oops, I should really. And then I just start with these. And if you wanted to do bigger ones because it's a bigger mushroom, or not put these on or put marks on, there's lots of different marks and lots of different toadstools and mushrooms. I just like my little red white spotted ones, which I think are the death cap mushrooms, but which is very strange because it's the one that's depicted in all the cartoon characters, cartoon films and things, and it's the one that's the most deadly, or one of the most. So I find that very strange, but of course it's the prettiest one because it's colourful. All the other ones are kind of insipid yellows and kind of slimy orangey colours. So sometimes, and again, it's not long before you think, oh, okay then, Yes, Judy said yes. I have. Well, she was Betsy, and she's Betsy Doodles. Everybody's Betsy Doodles. And this is Toffee Doodles. Toffee. This is Toffee Doodles. Whoopsie. Which I don't know if she's going to get under there, but this is our Toffee. This is our Toffee Doodles, who likes her chin. She's rescued as well. Is our Toffee. Aren't you, Toffee? She's purring now. Toffee's got this gorgeous paw. Yeah, maybe paw. Look at her paw. It's got cream on the end. Toffee's very, very soft. And she had a look at Betsy, but she wasn't impressed. But Betsy's upstairs, hiding, so... Oops, Alfie's come out now because he likes to sit down, Alf Pants. Good boy. So it doesn't take long. You think, oh my goodness, I've got all these spots to do. Sorry, cat hairs everywhere now, for goodness sake. So sometimes you might want to put a few more. And sometimes you can think, actually, less is more. A couple of little dots maybe. We've got the little window there. So I think we should have some brambles now. So could have some brambles going across. I'd like to start with the leaves, so they're quite fat. And again, you know, it's a doodle. Can't think of what. I have them on my phone and I can't look at them because if I look at them, I'll want to draw them exact. So this is just a doodle. And it becomes organic. It becomes just something to colour. So I do try to do them fat with a bit of a spike, and then they never turn out the same because I'm never in the right. I never have the same angle when I'm drawing them. And again, I just make sure that they have the spiky bit at the end. They're quite chunky if I can get them chunky. The veins meet in the middle, and that's it. That's that particular one. Oh, bye Jane, thank you for stopping by. Have a peaceful day. So, and I like things in threes. I'm not sure if it's just kind of me. So we've got this one coming in now. And sometimes if you're lucky, the end of the spike will go into the vein, and sometimes it won't. Oops, I missed that one, but never mind. And we could have and you can put a few flowers in there, or you could just do leaves and it would become a hedgerow. All sorts of things are possible once you get a particular shape in mind. Now, I'm going a bit fast because sometimes you see in one leaf it gets a bit boring. So that's that particular leaf. We can just have a few small ones. I like them to frame. I've got this other thing about having a framed kind of picture. And seems to be a kind of a doodle effect that's kind of works quite well. So after a while you get used to doing a certain thing in a certain way, and then it becomes a doodle, a habit. A doodle is just a habit drawn, or it's just a drawn habit. Oh, welcome back, Dee Dee Dazzle. And again, there's something quite nice about a leaf going off the page, but still kind of framing. And I love the fact that this pen can go on for days without having to refill it and get messy. So I think we could have a bit of a spike going across here. And again, I've got this is a 3 doodled, 3 leaves, which lends itself to a blackberry or a brambleberry. And then that's it. And sit this way down here, and then we'll have another one, and we've got that leaf, that other leaf, and a third leaf. And then wherever that goes, that bramble is going in that direction. And all you've got to think about is, ever so often, we're going to have a bramble. I won't zoom in quite as much, and then you can possibly see. So we've tried to be a little bit, whoops, 3 leaves and the bramble. Now if you wanted, you could do this in pencil first, draw it out, but the idea is it's a doodle, and if you draw it with a pen, it's more organic than drawing I mean, it might not be a bramble, it might be just a leaf, a series of leaves, flowers. It's not long before a certain direction pops up, so you know where it's going. Just try to keep the brambles going and spikes in different directions so it's not too mechanical. And I think that might go down the back of that one now. So I would have really liked the brambles to be at the front, but never mind. They're in there now. So again, try to do 3 leaves. Everything's in 3s at the moment, don't know why. I just find that sits best. The only problem I have is my hands start to hurt. So that's gone behind there. So obviously here there will be another one because they're just not going to stop. Must be 11 o'clock and we have a postman. And I think I'm just going to have a few peeping out from here so we know they're behind, and then we can have another one coming behind that way. Now because this has started to hurt my hands, I've actually bought a tablet to do this digitally. So you can do it either way. As much as I love my pen, which will bring me on to my next thing. So I wonder if these are a little bit small for colouring. And because they're organic, they're all facing different ways, even though sometimes I have them over the top. But again, if you think about that too much, it loses excuse me, it loses being organic and it becomes more kind of planned, and there doesn't seem to be as well a kind of a flow. There's an organic flow in a doodle, whereas if you kind of plan where everything is, you can just tell it doesn't have that kind of really nice kind of flow, as I call it, an organic flow, if that's the right word for it. I mean, you could look at blackberries and say, do they grow in a row? Do they grow in between each other? You could go into all sorts of details if you wanted. But again, I like to keep it just that little bit flowy. That one's gone behind there too. And you can just keep going and going and going. Oh, how long's that taken? About 45 minutes. So you can see you'd need a little bit more. So we've got 3 large mushrooms, so we could have some things under here, and some more brambles across the top, because of course the wonderful thing about brambles is they're kind of all kind of mushed together. There's always a big lot of brambles. And under here we could have daffodils, or we could have little hanging baskets. It's all to do with getting the doodles and thinking, well, now that's when you can kind of compose something if you want to use it as a drawing page. But normally doodles, you don't normally want to colour them in. So I'd probably have another one coming behind there, and then some smaller ones there and some bigger ones here, and maybe some daffodils there. So that's just a quick show of a doodle in my sketchbook. Thanks for watching.